I grew my legs from this to this and my shoulders from this to this in about 3 years or so. And in today's video, I'm going to go through every single exercise. So we've got all of these here. We've got squat, leg extension, seated leg curl, cable lat raise, seated dumbbell shoulder press, machine calf raise, and cable reverse fly. And I'm going to go through each exercise so you know exactly how to do it, exactly how to do the form, so that when you go into the gym, you know exactly what you're doing. So to begin with, also I just want to mention we do 2 sets of every single exercise and train to failure on every single set, of course. So shoulders to begin with. I like doing shoulders before legs because shoulders is less tiring, less stressful on your muscles, so it's a lot easier to get this done and out the way with first. So seated dumbbell shoulder press. This does the front part of your shoulder. You've got 3 heads to your shoulder. You've got the front delt, the side delt, and the rear delt, and that's what makes the like that 3D look. So you got rear delt, side delt, and front delt, just like that. And this does your front delt. So what you're going to do is you're going to get the bench at this incline. So is it 45 degrees, 60 degrees, something like that. But you basically want it at this kind of angle, right? And you'll know if it looks that angle. I think that's 45 degrees. And then you want to put your seat up by 1 incline, so it's literally like this, right? So it's like a letter L essentially. Then you want to place the dumbbells onto your knees and you're going to throw them up one at a time. So when I go down, I use momentum and throw one up at a time. As you can see, I don't, because some people just throw them up with their hands and that uses a lot of energy. So it'll tire you from your set and also you'll just get like a few injuries. But when you use your knees, just like this, it's complete momentum. So you can't really see it. Complete momentum. See that? So I don't even use any power in my arms at all, and they're immediately in this position. Now, once we're in this position here, make sure that your arms are at this 45-degree angle. You see how most people do them like this, straight up and straight down? You want to bring your elbows inwards. So they're like this. They're not coming out here at this like complete right angle to your body. You want them at a 45-degree angle. And also you want your arms to go down until you're just below, about there, just below a 90-degree angle. So say I'm coming down, some people do half reps where they go like this, right? And some people go all the way down. You don't want to get to this point, but you don't want to just do a half rep. So you want to go all the way down just where it passes the 90-degree mark. So you'll see how I do it. That was maybe a little bit too much. I normally pause around there now. See how it's slightly just past 90 degrees. And when you get to the bottom of the rep, you want to slightly pause for half a second. So when I go down, slight pause, and then back up. And you really want to use as much shoulder activation as possible. So don't be just like throwing the weight up like this, because it's just going to activate other muscles. You're going to get injuries. There's no point in really doing it. But when you use it, do it nice and controlled. You feel it all in your shoulders. You will naturally feel it a little bit in your chest, but that's just because it's an exercise that is kind of a compound movement. So just try your best to isolate your shoulders as best as possible. Use mind muscle connection, which basically means where you think about the muscle moving. And then on the way down, you want to do the exact opposite of how you got them up. So you're going to bring your knees upwards and you're going to catch the weight. Literally, if you just bring your knees up, then it'll just work. I don't know how the physics work on it. But as soon as I'm done, bring them up and it just does that and I'm automatically stood up. I don't know how it works. Just bring your knees up. That's all you need to know. Now, lots of people like to do lateral raises with the dumbbell, and that's fine. But I much prefer it with a cable. So if you've got one of these like hand cuff things that you can just wrap around your wrist, that's the best way. Or you can use like a handle, just like a grip that you can just hold. That's fine as well. Now, what we want to do, this is quite difficult to set up. So I put my left arm, so the arm I am not using obviously, on the bar of the cable, just so I've got something to stand on, something to lean on, like, you know what I mean. And then I've also stood at this kind of weird angle, so I'm slightly tilted, right? I'm not straight up, I'm slightly tilted in the way that I am facing away from this cable. And then of course we've got the cable round my wrist, and see how it's not totally at the bottom. It's just a little bit up. I like to put it on, I think it's number 5. I don't know what, your cable is probably different to mine, but I like to put it at number 5 on here. And then as you can see, if it would load, So you don't want your arm to be straight out. You don't want to be going up like this. In fact, let me put this baby in 1x zoom. So you don't want to be going up like this, okay? You want to slightly bend your arm inwards like this. So my arm is slightly bent. So it's not completely straight, it's slightly bent. And that's the line of path you want to go. But then what lots of people do, what I used to do, and possibly what I'm kind of doing in this shot here, when I do that, I tend to bring my arm in like this. So now I'm at this position rather than out here, right? So I've sort of brought it in, and that activates more of the front delt. So if you can, literally just put your arm out straight like this and bend it slightly. And that is the path that you want to go. And then just slowly let it down. Of course, for every single exercise in this video, you want to go very slow and controlled on the way down, pause for half a second at the top or bottom of the movement, wherever it may be, and then explode on the way up. Nice and controlled, and then straight back up, and then hold it for half a second, and then move back down, just like that. And you really want to emphasize this. Also, I like doing a drop set on this, so I do 2 normal sets, 2 top sets that I talked about, and then right at the bottom of the movement, right at the end of the 2 exercises. Sorry, it's been a long day. I haven't been very good at speaking today. My communication skills are not fantastic. When you get to the end of your 2 sets, that is when you perform a drop set, which essentially just means you lower the weight every single time you do another set. I think that's everything for this exercise. See there, that wasn't a great rep. See how my arm is almost 90 degrees, right? You don't want it to be like that. You want it to be slightly bent, but not completely 90 degrees like that. So that was a bad rep. And then of course, I don't know if I may do drop sets on this. If it would load, that would be fantastic. I don't think I do a drop set. Oh, I might do. Yeah, so just perform a little drop set just to burn it out at the end. Now, we are moving on to rear delt flies. So this is for your rear delts. So again, using the cuff link that we've got here, but it's a slightly different setup. So instead of having the cable down here, we're going to put it pretty much at the top. I have it like 2 below the top, right? So it's really high up. Essentially, you just want to put your arm out like this, like you're doing like a dab or something. Sorry, that was a bit cringe. You want to put your arm right up here like that, and that is the path. So wherever your hand ends up, that's where you're going to put it. And then it's pretty much the exact same movement, just the opposite way. So you're going to put it round quite far up your wrist. You don't want it right at the end, depending on the cuff link, because the cuff link I've got, it just feels not very nice. So I need to put it all the way up my arm to make it feel good. But essentially, you don't want to extend your arm like this. That's an extension. That is a fly, right? So we're trying to get it in this rear part of our shoulder. We don't want it in our tricep, because if you extend it, that is a tricep movement. So instead, you want to focus on keeping your arm in the complete same position whilst moving. I don't know, you know what I mean, right? So instead of extending your arm like this, you want to move your arm. I think that's a better way of putting it, right? So if you notice here, my arm is staying in this complete straight position, right? So it's slightly bent like before, like when we were doing the lat raises. But then I'm not extending my arm, I'm just moving it. That's all we're doing. And again, really focus. You might have to lower the weight on this, because otherwise it's difficult to feel the rear delt. But really slow that down. Then when you get to the bottom, pause for half a second, and then go back up. Lovely jubbly. And that's all it is. That's all for shoulders. And I think shoulders are one of, if not my greatest muscle group. So that's literally all I do, and that's all I've done for years. 3 exercises. Done. Now on to legs. The best part of the year, the best part of the day. So, squats. You don't have to do squats. I like to do some sort of compound movement, which basically means like a heavy lift where I'm using multiple muscles, all of my legs essentially, because you've got your glutes, you've got your hamstrings, you've got your quads, you've got everything, your thighs, sorry, you've got like lots of different parts of your leg. But I like doing compound movement where I use all of them, like a squat or, for example, a leg press. And then I like to go on to the isolation movements where I do like leg extension or something. So I'm just teaching squat in this one. You can do whatever you want. So this is what a good squat looks like when I actually set up. So you go under the bar. I'll teach this in a second, but just so you can see it first of all. Get into position, go down, and go up again. I could have gone a little bit lower on that, I think. Yeah, I could have gone a little bit lower. So essentially what you want to do, there are these little things on the side of this thing right here. See this big bar? And that's where you're going to just place the bar, essentially. So you want this to be the right height. So when I go under it, I lunge underneath it. So I go into a lunge position like that, and I go under, and it's very difficult when you've never done squats before. Some people place them on their traps, which is like their upper part of their back there. In fact, I'll zoom in. So some people place it there, like on the top of their shoulder, so across there, right? Across there, just below their neck. Or what I like to do is place it across here, just like the bottom part of my shoulder towards my middle back. That's where I like to place it. It just feels comfortable. It's whatever feels comfortable, really. So lunge into position, and then I figure out the position. See, I sort of roll it into the position, and then I'm ready to go. I pick it up, and then I go from there. So when you try to decide the height of this, because otherwise you'd be like going really far down into the lunge, or you won't be able to actually pick it up off the rack because it'll just be too high, right? The bar will be too high. So literally just lift it up and out. So you go up and then out like that, and it comes out, and then you go in and down, and it slots into place just like that, depending on the squat rack you've got, of course. And then where I position my feet, okay, that's it. I thought there was more to that. So I literally just do shoulder width apart, just straight down, and then point the toes outwards slightly, just like that, nice and simple. And then the bar placement, say this is the middle of the bar, this black bit right here. See these rings here? It depends if you've got rings on your bar, but I like to put it sort of towards the middle. And yeah, just like that, towards the middle. So if we were looking on, you can't really see it on this bar, but if there was a bar that long, I put my hands here. Okay, so I'm not in the middle, I'm not really out wide, I'm sort of like in between. And then once you get into this position, you put your hands on like that, and then you've done the lunge position in, you put it under, you've gone under the bar, you put it onto your back, and that's when you push up and stand up just like this, shoulder width apart in terms of your foot placement, and then lower down, but you don't want to get to the point where your back rolls. You just have to see this, but like it's hard to explain. But essentially, when you get too far down, then your back just sort of rolls and it sort of like curls over like that. That's what you don't want. That's called ass to grass, and it's it's funny to do because it does get a lot of quad activation, but then it's not that good for you. So you want to go down until your quads are sort of like a 90-degree angle. So as I said, I could have gone a little bit lower, just a little bit. See, so, and also you can use a plate, like one of these plates, you can put it behind your feet. So because my heels go up a little bit here, this isn't a great squat to be honest. But nice and slow on the way down, pause for half a second, and on the way up. And you want to breathe in through your nose, not through your mouth like I'm doing here. This was taken a while ago. To brace, so when you go like that, you tense all your stomach, your abs, and then when you go down, on the way up, you go like that, straight out your mouth, go, and you breathe out just like that, and that's how you go up. And that is squat. So it's very difficult to learn, so I'd recommend something like a leg press. Not that one, there's a leg press that's like at this angle. So you're pushing the actual leg press away from you. You're not pushing the seat that you're sitting on backwards, because here you're just putting your feet on this thing and you're pushing yourself backwards. Those are terrible. The ones that are like this, that's the ones you need. Or you could just practice squat, same difference. Okay, now we've got leg extension. So I think I was doing I was doing this thing where I did 2 half reps and then 1 full rep. So 2 half reps and then a full rep. And then I was holding. But I've just switched to the point now where I just do normal reps. Also, don't mind my little hole in my trousers. I know. So this is very easy to use. So there's this little handle right here, And obviously, depending on the machine you've got at your gym, you basically, with your thumb, say that's the handle, you just press it in like that. So let me, oh, hello. Let me see if I can, let me see if I can go to the point where I have finished. Oh, I don't actually, maybe it's towards the end. Just so you can see how I dismantle myself from this thing. Yeah, here you go, here you go. See, so I press it in, and once it's like clicked in, then I can move it backwards, just like that, and then I can get out. Or same way when you get in. Also, there's a few little things. There's a handle here which you can move this up and down, and then there's also a seat handle that you pull in just about here to go forward and backwards. And you actually want to be sitting quite far back on the leg extension, sort of like this. It's further than you think, but you want it so you're like at this angle, right? So instead of just sitting flat like this and you're moving instead of sitting flat and moving it up like this, your legs like this, you kind of want to be at this angle, so you're moving your legs like that, if that makes sense. Quite hard to explain. And then simple, just on the way down, you want to get to the point where the stack, or like the weights, almost touch the bottom. So there's the weights you're not using, and these are the weights that are going up and down when you move the weight, obviously. When you go down, they get to about here, and if they hit there, then they clink, right? So you know the noise when it goes down, it goes dink, like that when you hit the weights. Don't get to that point, go right just before you're about to touch it, and then push back up again. And then push up, and then really flex those quads at the top. Really flex them, like contract them. Almost push your shin that way, right? Almost push your shin, just do it as far as you can, really. And then hold for half a second, slowly let it back down. And that's it. And what I like to do is I like to do a top set, 2 top sets, basically just meaning a normal set. So I do between 4 and 7 reps. You can do 8 to 12, whatever your set range is, that's fine. I do 4 to 7 reps, and then after the second set, on that second set, I do a drop set. How many times can you say set? And that is where I just drop the weight, as I said, and that's what I'm doing over the course of this video. So this was over a minute long set, but you can see like I'm on like about 10 kg here, and I just cannot move it, right? So your legs shake. It is fantastically awful. And then finally, we've got one more. We have got leg curl. So it depends, again, if you got this, you could use, if you've got a lying hamstring curl, that's way better. You could do RDLs if you know what they are. This is just what I've got in my gym, and this is what I've been using. So you put your legs in between these two things. So this is very similar to leg extension, but this one you put your feet behind this part here, and this bit you put them over the top rather than underneath. And this rests on your shin. This is a flaw. You shouldn't have them here. You should have them on the top of your quads, but that's just techno gym. Like the people who make these machines just aren't very good at them. Nonetheless, as you can see, I put my hand up here and I move. In fact, it's probably a little bit later. Give it a second. Yeah, so I put my hand on that little yellow thing again, put it in, and then move it up just like that. And you want them so your legs are completely straight. And it feels a bit like, hang on, this is a bit too far here, but it's completely fine. You want to get the full range of motion. And then sort of the same thing with the seat, just basically until your heels are on the end of this pad. So your heels are literally like off the end. And then all you want to do is curl. So you can see how see how they're right on the end there. So maybe I could move them a bit back even further. So this part right here, that like the sole of my shoe, this part should be there really. And then all you want to do is just curl down just like that. Get to the point where you cannot go any further. So you might have to move this thing. See, I can pull this thing out because it's got a bit of yellow on it. I can pull it out and move it up and down depending on where I want to place my feet. And then of course you've got this, like I can pull that in like that. I can close it and I can move my seat back and forth. Just so you want to get the biggest range of motion you can possibly get, which essentially just means how far you can move in the exercise. So you see I can get almost to completely straight with my legs and then move all the way down, and then I can get pretty much a full curl of my legs. And then I like to do a drop set, as I said before, with lots of these exercises, but especially this one and the leg extension. So this is just for your hamstrings, the back of your legs, and that's all you need to know. It's quite simple, really. Just I had no idea what I was doing when I first did these, because these two look the exact same and they all look very like mechanical and technical, so I had no clue. But that's how you use them. And then finally, we've got calf raises. So never skip out on calves. So if I just skip along a bit. So this is the leg press that you don't want to use. I'll zoom in actually. This is the leg press you don't want to use for your quads, but for your calves, they are very good. If you're blessed enough, like I am not, to have a calf raise machine, then use that, because obviously it's made for it. But if you don't, I like to use this. Or you can like get a squat bar, like just, you know, like you're gonna do the squat, but just do calf raises instead. So you push out just so your legs are completely flat on here, and if you see here they are, okay, I cannot do that, that's fantastic. So it's about halfway down your shoe. You put them right on the bottom, just like that, and then, I like how it does that, it doesn't let me do it, that's good. And you want to go as far down as you physically can. So see how I'm bending my foot? I'm almost bending. Say my foot is like this, right? So this is my leg and that's my foot. I'm not just getting to this point where it's like completely flat. I'm bending it even further, right? And then I flex just like that. So you can see how I flex up and really flex it as much as you can, literally just like you're standing on your tippy toes. That's it. And then slowly lower it back down and then flex it as far as you can. And that's all there is to it. That's it. That's calf raises for you. Make sure you do them, don't skip out on them, because we don't want skinny calves. And just before you go, I have a paid product that will help you get from this point to this point in way faster of a time than I did, because I did it very slowly because I didn't know what I was doing. So if you want like a perfect step-by-step autistic detailed guide on how to get to here, then click the first link in the description and I'll see you over there. Good night.